All right, this is your final exam review for part 1. This is a no calculator section. We're going to go through the first 15 questions, and I will explain how to get each answer. Number 1, which of the following statements about these real-world situations is not true? Now, remember, that says not, so you're looking to see which one is false. A temperature of 15 below is represented by plus 15. Now, 15 below 0 would be negative 15, so that should be the answer. Let's just make sure. A submarine diving 150 feet underwater is negative 150. That's true. A gain of 20 yards in a football game can be represented by plus 20. That's true. A $50 check deposited, that means you're putting it into your bank, which means it's making your bank account go up, would also be a positive. So that would be choice A. All right, number 2, which of the following expressions is equal to negative 10? Now, you don't have a calculator for this, so this question has to be done using leave, change, because it is a subtraction question. I'm just going to write that down. All right, so 15 minus 5, that's just 10. Now I'm going to do leave, change. Negative 15 plus 5 is negative 10. Leave, change. So 15 plus 5 is 20. Leave, change. Negative 15 plus negative 10 is negative 20. So the only one that is negative 10 is choice B. Do you have to show all of this work for that question? Absolutely. Now, number 3, which of the following fractions is the least? Now, to compare these, there's 2 ways you can do this. You can either find common denominators, which I personally think would be very long, or you can make them all decimals and see which one is the least, the smallest. So we already know that 3/4 is 0.75, so that would be negative 0.75. Now, 1/5, I'm going to tip the fraction over to see what the decimal is. So 5 goes into 10 twice. So that would be equal to negative 0.2. Now, 3/6 is the same thing as negative 1/2, which is negative 0.5. And 2/3, so 3 goes into 20 6 times. Subtract, bring down a 0. 3 goes into 20, you're going to notice this repeats. So negative 0.6 repeating. Now, this is a tricky question because they are all negative. So you have to remember that negative numbers, the larger the negative number, the smaller it actually is. So this is like 20, 50, 75, 66. So choice A would be the largest one, but it is actually the smallest when you're talking about negatives. Notice how much work I have for that question. All right, number 4, simplify the following expressions. I have a number outside of a parentheses, which means I'm going to distribute. So 4 times x gives us 4x. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. So 4x plus 7x. That gives you 11x. And then we have minus 8, which is choice C. All right, number 5 on the next page. Which of the following expressions is equivalent to 6x plus 36 in factored form? So factored form means that you're going to do the boxes. And when we do this, we're going to put 6x and 36 inside the box. Now, you have to find the greatest common factor between 6 and 36, which is 6. That goes in 1x times, and this goes in 6, which means my answer is 6 times x plus 6, choice B. Now, one good way to checking this is to actually distribute. Now, if I distribute 2 times 3x, I get 6x, and 2 times 18 is 36. This would be 6x plus 36. This one would be 6x plus 36. Now, they're all 6x plus 36, so why did I choose B? Well, I chose B because this 6 is the greatest common factor. So when it's in factored form, that number on the outside has to be the greatest common factor. Number 6, halfway through the bowling league season, Stuart has 34 strikes. He averages 2 strikes per game. So which inequality represents at least 61 strikes? So one of the things I always tell you is there's usually a number that changes, a number that doesn't, and a total. So if I do that, I have a number that changes, so that'd be 2x, plus he already has 34 strikes, and he wants to have at least 61 strikes. That means 61 or more, which would be greater than or equal to. So looking at this, that's actually choice A. The X is your G, but that's still the same thing. So that's A. All right, which of the following shows a solution set below? Now, if you look at this, this is a closed circle. So right away, I can eliminate choices A and B. So let's look at choice C. I have 4x minus 15 is less than or equal to 5. If I solve this, I'm going to add 15 to both sides. So 4x is less than or equal to 20. Divide both sides by 4, so x is less than or equal to 5. Now, there is no negatives there, so I didn't have to switch the sign, so that would be my answer. Is this showing that x is less than or equal to 5? Yes, which would be choice C. All right, number 8. A restaurant is giving away one of 5 different toys with its children's meal. If the toys are given out randomly, describe a model that could be used to simulate which toy would be given out. Now, there are 5 different toys, so we need to have something that represents 5 different outcomes. Number cubed would represent 6 outcomes. Tossing a coin would represent 2. That would be 4 equal sections and 5 equal sections. So the only one that has 5 outcomes would be choice D. All right, number 9. A school superintendent wants to ask students how much time they spend studying at home. He wants the information from the entire student population. So which survey method would best produce the best sample? So is everybody in the library during 3rd period? No. Everybody that enters the school or enters Walmart, not everybody's at Walmart, not everybody's on the softball team, so the best representation would be choice B. All right, number 10 on the next page. Joe is trying to pick out a pair of shoes to wear. The probability that he picks out a pair of sneakers is 2 fifths. Which statement describes that the probability that Joe will pick a pair of sneakers? Now, certain would be 100%. That's not 100%. Impossible would be 0%, not impossible. So is 2 fifths closer to 100 or closer to 0? Well, some people say 2.5 is half of 5. So this would be less than that, which would be unlikely because it's less than 50%. So that's choice C. 11, the greenhouse temperatures at a certain time are shown in the graph. Which statement is true? Now, this is a straight line. It does not go through the origin. It's actually at 65. So this would be not a proportional relationship, which is choice B. It is not proportional. It would not go through the origin, and the line is actually straight. Number 12, we do not have a calculator for this, but we can still follow PEMDAS. So we're going to do what's inside the parentheses first. Now, I'm going to focus on that right now. They are 2 fractions with unlike denominators, so I'm going to make both fractions a denominator of 8. The second fraction already has a denominator of 8, so that doesn't change. This one I'm going to multiply by 2. I'm going to do leave, change, and that gives us negative 1/8. So I have negative 1/8 over 1/4. Now, when you have 2 fractions on top of each other, that actually just means division. So I'm going to write this horizontally. I'm going to do leave, change, flip. And when I do that, I get negative 1/2, which is choice C. So remember to do parentheses first and then division. All right, number 13, Craig went bowling with $25 to spend. He rented shoes for $5.25 and paid $4 for each game. What was the greatest number that he could have played? Now, this is an inequality that we want to write. Number that changes, number that doesn't, and a total. So he is paying $4 for each game plus $5.25 to rent it. He only has $25 to go bowling with, so we have to stay less than, or it could be equal to $25. All right, I'm going to subtract $5.25 from both sides. So 4G is less than or equal to, I'm going to add some zeros here. So 0, that changes to 10. That would be 5. That's 7, 0. Let's try that again. We get 1975. All right, so I'm going to divide both sides by 4. So G is less than or equal to, I'm going to take 1975 and I'm going to divide it by 4. Now that goes in 4 times. That's 16. Bring down the 7. 4 goes into 37 6 times. I'm sorry, not 6 times. That'd be 24. Goes in 9 times, which would be 36. Bring down the 5. So 4 goes into 15 3 times. All right, that's about as much as we need, because as long as we know that G has to be less than 4.3 or 93, the only answer that you have is choice A. All right, number 14, which is the value of this expression? Now notice we have fractions and decimals, but all of our answers are in fraction form. So when I do this, I'm going to change everything to fractions. So negative 0.45 is going to be negative 45 over 100. Now we can reduce that. It might make it a little bit easier. I know 5 goes into both, so 5 goes into that 9 times over 20. Okay, so there's my reduced form. Now if I'm dividing fractions, I'm going to do leave, change, flip. I'm going to cross cancel. 2 times 4 is 8. 1 times negative 9 is negative 9. So my answer would be negative 8 over 9. Last one, which one is equivalent to this? This is a leave, change, change question. So as soon as you do leave, change, change, you see that you get choice A. Now, those are all your no calculator questions. Go ahead and make sure you memorize every single thing in this packet. You need to go over practice problems with different types of questions from this section. Please do so, and good luck on final exam part 1.